Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our next perspective lecture titled Preserving Cultural Heritage, Bridging Traditions and the Future by Mr. Sruthin Lal. Sruthin Lal is the Executive Director of the UNESCO award-winning Archival and Research Project, a leading cultural heritage conservation non-profit in Kerala, and GULI Heritage. He writes for the culture in the Hindu and Frontline and is currently authoring a book on Calicut's history for Westland Books. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everybody. Um, I'm Sruthin. So I'll give you a brief background about myself. I used to be a journalist. I worked as a business journalist for in Delhi, then left journalism after 6 years and came back to Kerala after COVID and started, co-founded the Archival and Research Project. I'll tell you more about ARPO and our the work that we do. Before that, I'll tell you the story of one of the projects that we did. This is a picture from August 2022. It's the temple of the guardian deity of my village in Calicut. I come from Calicut, so it's a very obscure temple. So I happened to visit there for some reason. And then I saw this open hall of that mandapam. It's called a Namaskara Mandapam or a Karnikara Mandapam. And then that time, it was almost about to fall down. So what fascinated me was this was perhaps the oldest structure of my village because all other buildings and everything was from this period was demolished, completely renovated into something else and all. So what struck me was if this is lost, you can see one of the pillars, it's completely termite eaten. And then it could not stand another monsoon. So what I did was I started putting these pictures on local WhatsApp groups and all. Not many people cared. Somebody said like, yeah, we should restore and all, but not much support and everything. But then what happened was that there was somebody who I knew through Instagram, somebody who follows our work, the work of my organization ARPO, and then I happened to meet him during when he visited Kerala. His name is Mr. Vivek Sani, and he is the chairman of Kama Ayurveda. It's a premium Ayurveda cosmetic brand. So the thing is like I gave him like a narrative about what the temple is and what it stands for and everything. More than just open hall, the temple had an amazing story. In our village, it's a Bhadrakali temple. So in our village, it's believed that there are the 18 hills surrounding our village. The belief is that it's guarded by that deity. So all the trees and the beings, and especially the water springs, are considered to be the property of this deity, the Bhadrakali. She is considered like a fierce goddess. I'm not much of a temple goer, sort of a person, but here the thing is that because of this belief system, lot of local ecological heritage is very much preserved. There are places that are named like Amma Nokum Chalil, like it literally translates to streams looked after by mother. Stream looked after my mother. There's actually a stream which is always there, even in harsh summers. So supplying water and everything. Nobody tampered with that place because they believe it's looked after by this mother goddess. And then there are so many stories floating around, like how somebody So if something, somebody went for hunting and they saw a lady with drum stars and all, and then somebody went for fishing, then they saw something, like that sort of belief system is there. So I combined all these stories, put it into a doc, and then said that like one of the important heritage of my village is vanishing. Can you help? So he said, yeah, let's do it, but let's do it in the scientific way. So we brought in 3 female architects, conservation architects. They are Team ERA, Swati, Savita, and Ritu. And then they came, they did the documentation. So Vivek gave almost half the money, 1/3 of the money, and rest we crowdsourced. We employed, craftsmen and everything. So this is how we restored that the temple mandapam in actually in a record 3 months time, which was quite unusual for temple sort of works. Usually temple works are notoriously, it takes long time now. So we started in January 2023, and then by March, April we finished, and completely, that by festival time, we finished it. And the process was completely based on conservation. Complete timber we used. Whatever, we could reuse, we reused it. All the, base stones and everything, granite and everything. And then we did not use cement. We used lime plastering. And then we did not use varnished sort of things for the wood. We used Ayurvedic medicines. Those were also like, there was one last Vaidyan, in Calicut who had that knowledge of creating such wood oils. It had some 41 herbal ingredients and all in that. So that was also a vanishing tradition. So we used such oils and everything. And then finally, then that is the, and then the temple floor also we did not use any modern materials, just mud and cow dung and everything, cow dung flooring. And then what ended up happening was we won multiple international awards. So in 2023, we won UNESCO's Asia Pacific Cultural Heritage Conservation Awards, 2 in 1 award of distinction and award for sustainable development. And then we won Kerala, Indian Institute of Architects, Kerala chapters Golden Leaf Award. And then so many such awards. Yesterday, I think we won a commendation from IAA National Awards. I think it was yesterday. It was held in Rajkot, I think. So what ended up happening was, an effort to conserve very obscure, sort of a heritage. It ended up creating such a big impact. Now my village is in, I can say it's in global map, world map. And so I want to show you like this how we did that and everything through this video.
When we first time saw this mandapa, it was highly in a dilapidated state, or like the structure was in a condition where like it couldn't have like survived one more monsoon. We are a team of conservation architects, and our team name is IRA. So we got this project of restoration of Karnikara Mandapa in Kundamangalam Bhagavati temple. We got this project through ARPO. So they have contacted us in January for assess the condition of this mandapam. So we decided to go to the site and inspect the mandapam. The whole plinth was settled. All the wooden members and wooden columns with a wooden base were all deteriorated with termite infestation. From the base, the column had hollowed up till the top. Not only this, it has a missing Taigakudam or a finial at the top. There were some areas where tiles were broken, and through those broken tiles, the rafters, timber rafters were deteriorated also. There were like lot of past retrofitting work were done with steel rods. So when you remove one steel member itself, the structure would have fallen. Main challenge was to start the project in January and end the project in March, because we have a festival in March. So before that, the temple committee, the owners of this building, wanted the project to get completed.
So the first step of the conservation process was to do the initial research as to what materials and what was the traditional practices used in the regional temples in and around that precinct. Already when we got this project, the Adhisthana and the Upapidam was covered with many modern materials like cement and paint. So the first step was to actually remove the incompatible materials and to reveal the structure and to expose out the masonry. We also took a call to plaster the Upapidam, which was exposed to rain and sun, and it is also an area where people would walk on. So we took a call to plaster it, but not using cement, but using lime plastering. The Adhisthana or the plinth, which was coated in paint, had to be organically removed to reveal the structure, and to give it a shine, an organic oil which was suggested by local stone craftsmen was also applied to improve the durability of the laterite stone.
Our whole idea or the conservation philosophy is to use local techniques and methods to revive this structure. We want all the local artisans at this place to come together and work with us and revive this structure.
Another challenge that we faced was to find local craftsmen who were skilled in particular traditional practices at the right time during this short time limit that we had.
Now the wood we have used is Venga. It has medicinal properties, but it also needs some protection. We went to a Vaidyan who prepares this solution, an organic solution to preserve the wood. Around 32 herbs, medicinal herbs that are used in this entire process, and 5 oils as base, one of which is linseed oil. So this is done like how we prepare kashayam, like Ayurvedic medicines. So the entire process was very intense.
അപ്പോൾ മരത്തിന് വേണ്ടി അടിക്കുന്ന ഈ മരുന്ന് അച്ചച്ചൻ മുതൽക്കേ ഉണ്ടാക്കി വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ക്ഷേത്രങ്ങൾക്ക് ഭജനകോവിൽ, പിന്നെ കോവിലകത്തിന് ഓരോ മരത്തിനും ഓരോ തരത്തിലുള്ള വ്യത്യാസം വരും. ഇതിലിപ്പം കടുകെണ്ണ, ആവണക്കെണ്ണ, വേപ്പെണ്ണ, വെട്ടിയെണ്ണ, നല്ലെണ്ണ, ഈ 5 എണ്ണകൾ ഇതിൽ പെടുന്നുണ്ട്. വ്യത്യസ്ത അളവിലാണ് പെടുന്നത്. അതിനാണ് 1000ഓളം വർഷങ്ങൾ നിലനിൽക്കും ഈ മരത്തിനെന്നാണ് പറയുക ഇത് അടിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ.
When we look at modern structures, majorly wooden polish is used. So wooden polish has a lot of chemicals. So when these chemicals are used by the workers, there is a lot of stingy smell and odor that comes with it. So we spoke to the workers as well. They were really happy because this has an amazing aroma, and even the people who come and visit the temple, they are very happy because of the aroma that they get.
Now talking about the main part or the flooring of the mandapa where the Kalamerithu ritual happens, this was traditionally plastered in mud. It's a mud flooring which is covered with cow dung also, and it had a granite border all around it. So the challenge was to level out the granite border or the granite stones and to bring back the mud flooring and the cow dung coating which was traditionally used. So we had to convince the local committee or the temple committee to use those traditional methods, because this would have less impact on the performance that is being done in that entire mandapa, where rangoli patterns are created in the center of the mandapa, and this was removed using the feet of the performer while dancing around the mandapa.
We didn't want to illuminate the structure too much and bring kind of an artificial look. We wanted the divine glow, and the lighting should be inspired from, you know, a lamp that is lit using oil that they do it every day. So inspiration for illumination was that. We didn't want to brighten up the entire mandapam, giving a completely different look from what it was earlier.
Another interesting aspect is this is funded by, 1/3 of this fund was given by Vivek Sani, the chairman of Kama Ayurveda, and 2/3 of this funding was given by, like, through crowdfunding by the temple committee and the kind donation of people of Karuvanur, this area.
It was amazing to see the entire, you know, the whole thing coming together on the festival day, the whole mandapam being lit up, and the artist performing on that platform, which made us really content, and it was really amazing to experience it.
Now let me tell you about us. I hadn't elaborated. So the organization that I co-founded, it's called the Archival and Research Project. So we are a not-for-profit organization, and our aim is to preserve and promote our pluralistic cultural heritage. So we are based in Kerala. So our current work is mostly focused on Kerala. We started our work in 2021. So our core belief is that our understanding our culture and heritage will help us create an inclusive, equitable, and sustainable future. So architectural conservationists, it was more like a one-off project, and it went on to create a lot of impact. And but primarily we do multimedia storytelling, digital archiving, research, events, and interventions. So mainly, currently we are supported by the Tata Trust, Samagata Foundation, Kendra Sangeeta Academy, and so on. On media, you'll find a lot of articles and all about our work. So again, the restoration conservation work that we did was on the tangible aspect of our culture. So primarily, but our primary focus is actually on the intangible aspects. So and then I told you that one of our major principles that we work on is um, there is the principle of equity, you know, because when we start working, when we want to promote culture, then the question arises like what culture, because there are so many communities, so many regions, so how do you prioritize? So that's where we thought like the principle of equity should come into play. So one of the major focus from the beginning for us was the indigenous communities of Kerala, who constitute, in Kerala there are 36 tribal communities, and they constitute only 1.5% of the population. So you might have heard a lot about, the Kerala model of development and everything, but from our experience, and you can read about it, it doesn't reach, that 1.5%, because, that's a very, they still live at the fringes. Even though they have, like all these 36 communities, they have their own dialects, their own songs, traditions, culture performances, musical instruments. Nobody talks about it. So we thought like maybe we should start from there. So that's why we started something called the ARPO Earth Lore, the Earth Lore project. So where the focus is on promoting indigenous culture. So what we do under Earth Lore is we do documentation, we promote their, we build capacities, and we also try to connect communities with, avenues of creative economies. So you can see like the kind of documentation work that we do. That's Irular community during one of our documentation. That's Kothar community of Ooty. There are only 2,400 of those community members on this planet. Very amazing musical traditions that they have. They are Katanaikar or Jaina Kurba community. This is a community, this is Mannan community of Idukki. We are working currently with them. Our team of sound engineers and all, you can see like, for our archiving work, how we go there. And this was a wonderful moment for us. I told you we don't just document. Again, the theme of this is, how we connect culture with the future, Here you can see, that Katanaikar community, behind you will see somebody, the Bal person his name is Ramesh. And when they for the first time, his complaint was youngsters are not taking up, pursuing their culture. They are not learning about their songs or their traditional performance and all. So what we did was, during the project, we invited a lot of musicians, professional musicians who work with A.R. Rahman and all, those level to these communities in Wayanad. They collaborated with them, and then, a lot of, sitting together happened. We created music videos, we did a lot of archiving. In that process, they understand each other. So one of the musicians, Charu Hariharan, she got really fascinated by their talent. She invited them to collaborate for one of the largest musical festivals in India. It's called the Mahindra Percussion Fest. So the Katanaikar actually did the opening performance of the Mahindra Percussion Fest, because through the, after we facilitated, they did a wonderful job. And now what is happening is that Ramesh Redden is very happy. All the youngsters are now, they really want, they understood, such big stages are possible, and there is money, there is, fame, there is happiness, everything. So right now, after this event, what they told us was, like, we now think that, we need to learn more. We saw so many things there, like drums and so many instruments and stuff like that we want to learn. So we made it into a proposal and gave it to Tata Trust. And right now, Tata Trust is actually supporting us to start a fellowship program for tribal musicians in Wayanad region right now. So I think day after we are doing the first round of interviews and all for selecting 20 tribal community members. So what we'll do is like, we'll be giving them the best training possible in India, like bringing the best sort of trainers when it comes to, the world of professional music. What we want them to do is like, they have their own wonderful musical culture and everything. All they need is some support in terms of understanding like how professional space works. For instance, if you're in a stage, how to make use of a stage, sound engineering, recording, and all those understandings. And so that these experts will provide them, and along with that, when we help them to, to venture into professional field, they also should understand contracts and legal, intellectual property rights, and all those things. So those sort of knowledge also will be given during that thing. So that's how it is going right now. So here, I know lecture may be boring. Maybe I'll show you a music video that we created. So this is, Charu Hariharan, the musician that we invited, collaborated with the Irular community of Attapadi. And here the lead singer is Nanji Amma. I don't know if you know her. She's the first tribal woman to have gotten the Best Playback Singer award in the National, Film Awards. So that happened after we worked with her. So this is a music video that we created. You can see, and here again, our aim is when you say tribal music, you have certain idea of tribal music. But our idea is there is, it's a very much enjoyable music that can, go anywhere. So we just need to do the right kind of connections, even for the larger community to understand, or for that music to reach larger community. So I'll show you the video.
Kutukonda kari sinadere, mame magelami sinamide. Kutukonda kari sinadere, mame magelami sinamide. Asevandu pasangati, palagi nadanda kela kela. Asevandu pasangati, palagi nadanda kela kela. Lale 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 lale. മുമ്പത്താകെയുള്ള കുട്ടികൾ അങ്ങനെയാണ്. അച്ഛനക്കറിയാതെ അമ്മൾക്കറിയാതെ അവരിങ്ങനെ കാതലത്ത് ഒരു വാടിക്കകളെ കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് അവർ നടത്തിയ ഒരു പാട്ടാണ്. അടിപൊളി പാട്ടാണ്. അവരുടെ മനസ്സിൽ പറ്റി പാടുന്നതാണ് ആ പാട്ട്. അവരുടെ പാട്ടാണത്. കൂത്തുകൊണ്ടേ കരിസിനാദേരെ മാമേ മകളമി സിനാമീദേ. കൂത്തുകൊണ്ടേ കരിസിനാമീദേ. ഇതാണ് ഈ പാട്ടിനെ വരണത് അർത്ഥമായിട്ട് കേട്ടോ. ലാലേ 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 ആ തില്ലേലേലോ ലേലേലേലോ തില്ലേലേലേലോ ലേലേലേലോ തില്ലേലേലോ ലേലേലേലോ തില്ലേലേലോ ലേലേലേലോ അവിടെ കഥവട്ടേതി നീവേനാക്കി പാടിപ്പോകുതു എത്തു മനസ്സു
Again, if you go to our YouTube channel, ARPO, you'll find, I haven't shown you the archival videos that we do, you know, there's a lot actually. And right now we have started a separate channel for tribal music archive called ARPO Earth Lore. You can search for that on YouTube. Yeah, so that's about it. And then yeah, so I spoke about how we work in tribal, you know, cultural area. Now, in Kerala, we have, you know, our folk culture is amazing again. But you know, if you speak, if you search about Kerala culture, the kind of pictures and videos that you always get is of Kathakali, Mohiniyattam and all, usually classical arts. But these are art forms usually, I mean, restricted to the kind of practitioners of that community is like very small. But you know, the large segment of, there is another Kerala which you don't get to see, you know, which is the folk Kerala, because one of the reasons I started ARPO was, you know, I come from Calicut. The kind of festivals that I get to see and the kind of performance, for instance, Tirayattam, or you know, Onapottan, and then the kind of Kolkali, different sort of things. So, for instance, my mom's and dad's houses are just 20-25 kilometers apart, but the kind of things in that place, people of this area, they don't have any idea, because you know, it's that diverse. Because you know, Kerala, it's a narrow strip of land, and then we have 41 rivers or something, you know, crisscrossing. And then in old times, you know, the navigation was very difficult. So each of those small parts actually developed its own microcultures and its own sort of art forms and festivals and so on. So, and most of these things are like very, that falls in the realm of folk traditions. And then again, when it comes to the principle of equity and all, you know, that's an area we felt like we should really work on. And there's a lot to actually conserve. So we really wanted to focus on preserving the oral traditions in the folk domain. Yeah. So so everybody blames technology for the loss of our you know, our oral heritage, especially related to folk traditions. You know, everybody started watching TV, so they stopped listening to their grandmoms' stories and songs and everything. So, or you know, now everybody's on mobile phone, so you don't watch all these things. So what we tried was, you know, like we started thinking, why not use technology itself to preserve our folk oral tradition. So that's why we started something called the Lore Keepers Project, where we are crowdsourcing vanishing oral traditions, using mobile phones. So the idea is simple. It started also because I come from a journalism background, so nowadays we also do a lot of mobile journalism and crowdsourcing and all. So since if you have a mobile phone, our ideas were simple. So if you find an oral traditions in your family or community, just shoot that as a video, and then send to us with certain metadata that will, it's not very complicated. And then we'll make it a part of digital archive. So far in 1.5 years or something, we have crowdsourced more than 1,500 such folk songs and tales. So all are available on our there is a YouTube channel called ARPO Lore Keepers. Almost all are available here. We are, some we go and, shoot on our own, because some large performance, for instance, this Fugdo is a performance we recently archived. It's actually performed by Kudumbi community, who actually migrated to Kerala from Goa region around 1400s, I think, after they faced persecution from Portuguese. And then they still speak their Konkani language and everything, and this whole performance is in Konkani language. They still practice it. There's only hardly 20 of them still, having this knowledge of this thing. Similarly, we had this archive. If you look, there are thousands of such videos, and most of them are shot by ordinary people. For instance, one school teacher herself sent us some 120 folk songs and tales on her own by collecting it from her family. So here on YouTube you can watch it, and then on backend we have a proper database with proper metadata and everything. So every song will be having song or story will be having a number, and then who sang it, their age, their place, it's a description category. So it's an amazing treasure for researchers who are working in this area. So that's our I'll show you a video about
അമ്പെടുക്കും വില്ലെടുക്കും ശാലയ്ക്കൂറവൻ്റെ മലകുളത്തിൽ വന്നിട്ട് നിലകുലിങ്ങ പാടുന്നു അന്തിക്കിങ്ങൾ വേദിയല്ല എന്നോട് നിങ്ങൾ മിണ്ടിയില്ല കുട്ടിയെ നിങ്ങൾ എടുക്കുകയില്ല എങ്ങനെ വേണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എങ്ങാക്കി വിടി ഞാൻ അഞ്ചാടെ പോയാൽ വായി നിങ്ങൾ നയിക്കില്ല അതാ കിട്ടിയത്.
As part of this project, we do a lot of camps in schools, because hundreds of these are collected by school students, not just teachers. And we also think that it's really important that youngsters understand the value of this folk traditions, and they also should be a part of this collection drive. So please go and check out our YouTube channel where all these folklore are there if you're interested. Now coming to, I spoke about two of our major projects, and both these are donor driven. We are supported, for this project, we are supported by Faisal and Shabana Foundation, and right now it's supported by Samagada Foundation and Tata Trust. But in long term, if you're building a not-for-profit organization, sustainability is important, financial sustainability also. So that's why we thought we should start another wing, which is where we can actually something that we can actually use to raise money for ourselves and to support the culture practitioners that we discover. So that's why we started something called GULI Heritage. It's actually where we connect culture practitioners with seekers of cultural experience, especially in this tourism domain. So we do a lot of cultural events and very curated tourism experiences. So this was an experimental thing we had been doing for the last six months or something like that. We have been getting wonderful response for this, and we have been able to help a lot of practitioners to generate sustainable income. So wherever people go, we make sure that they are introduced to the history of that place. We make sure that they stay in heritage stays that are preserved. So that way this heritage stays also get income. Then we make sure that we find the right authentic culture practitioners and we help them design their performances so that it is very appealing to these people who are coming to experience it. We make sure that they get really good payment for each of these performances. So that way we are tapping into the market economy or the creative economy also side by side. So that is our venture called GULI Heritage. So far we have organized 20 plus premium cultural tours and then if you're traveling in Indigo magazine, Indigo flight right now on Indigo flight magazine, you can see our work featured because we gave a tour for Indigo Sea and all. So it's a tour in Calicut that we gave recently. Yeah. And finally, there's a lot to talk, so I'm restricting my talk to very specific things. Later things you can ask as questions. That's better. So finally, I'll show you a documentary that we created. I told you we create such documentaries also. I'm showing you one. This is about the culture of Jenu-Goruba community of Wayanad, Coorg region, and then we did it in collaboration with the Kendra Sangeet Academy.
ಹಜ್ಜಯ ನಾಯ ಸಾರಲೆ ಪಟ್ಟಿ ತರುತ್ತೋ ಹಜ್ಜ ಮನಾಯ ಸಾರಲೆ ಉಲುಕಿದೋ ಹಜ್ಜಯನ ಜಮಾಲೆ ಹೆ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿನೋ ನಂಗ ಹಜ್ಜಯನ ಜಮಾಲೆ ಹೆ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿನೋ ಕಾಡಲ್ ಕವೆ ತೆರತ್ ಕಾಡಲ್ ಪಟ್ಟಿ ತೆರತ್ ಕಾಡಲ್ ಹುಲುಕಿದ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿನೋ ನಂಗ ಕಾಡಲೆ ಹುಲುಕಿದ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿನೋ. ಸಿದ್ದಾಪುರ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಊರ ಹೆಸರು. ಕಾಡು ಒಳಗಡೆ ನಾಗರ ಕಾಡು ಒಳಗಡೆನೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಬೆಳೆದೆ. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಚಿಗದಡಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಕಾಡಿಗೆ ಅದೇ ಗೆಣಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೋ. 3-4 ಗಂಟೆವರೆಗೆ ಗೆಣಸಾಗ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೋ. ಸಪೂರ ಮರ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬೆಂಕಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಸುಟ್ಟು ತಿಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು 6 ಗಂಟೆ 6:15 ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಓ ಆ ಕೊಚ್ಚೆ ಈ ಕೊಚ್ಚೆ ಹುಡುಕೋಡೆ ಬಾರು.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು JK ತಿಮ್ಮ ಅಂತೇಳಿ, ಜೇನುಕುರುಬರ ಮುಖಂಡರು ಕೂಡ. ಕಾಡಿನ ವಿಚಾರಗಳು ಬಂದಾಗ ಇಡೀ ಹುಲ್ಲು ಕಡ್ಡಿ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ದೇವ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ನೇರ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಬುದ್ಧ ತರವು ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಮೆಡಿಸನೆ, ಬುದ್ಧ ತರವು ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ದೇವ್ರಿ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ ಥರ ಮನೋಭಾವನೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯ ಇರೋದರಿಂದ ಈ ಕಾಡು ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದು. ಇಲ್ಲದರೆ ಕಾಡು ಸರ್ವನಾಶ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಕಾಡು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗೋದ್ರ ಕಾರಣನೇ ಆದಿವಾಸಿಗಳು ಇದಿರೋದು. ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಹಾರ ಇದೆ, ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಇದೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಉಸಿರಾಟ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಉಸಿರು ಇದೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನೇರ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
ಹಿಂಡ್ಸಕಾಯಿ ಕೀದೋಡು ಇಟ್ಟು ಬೇಸಿ ತಿಂದೋಡು ಗಾಸು ಹಗದು ಸುಟ್ಟೋಡು ಒದೆ ಗಾಲು ಕೊಟ್ಟೋಡು.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಕಾವೇರಿ, ನಾಗರಹೊಳೆ ಗದ್ದಾಡಿ. ನಾವೇ ಜೇನು ಕುರುಬರು, ಕಾಡಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಬೆಳೆದವರೇ ನಾವೇ. ನಾವು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ದೇಶ ಸುತ್ತಿ ಬಳಸಿ ಬಂದರೂ ಕೊಡಗುಗೆ ಬರಬೇಕು. ನಾವು ಕಾಡಿಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಟಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹಣ್ಣು, ನೇರಳೆ ಹಣ್ಣು, ನೆಲ್ಲಿಕಾಯಿ ಅದು ತಿನ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಈಗಲೂ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ ಕಾಡಿಗೆ.
ಗಾಸು ಗೆಡ್ಡೆನೆ ತಿತ್ತಿನ ನಂಗೆ, ಜೇನು ತುಪ್ಪನೆ ಮುಳ್ಳು ಕೋಡು, ಗಾಸು ಗೆಡ್ಡೆನೆ ತಿತ್ತಿನ ನಂಗೆ.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ವಾಣಿ, ನಾಗರಹೊಳೆ ನಾಣಿಸಿ ಗದ್ದಾಡಿ, ತುಂಡು ಮುಂಡಾಗಿ ಕೊಲ್ಲಿ. ಅಣಬೆಗಳು ನಮಗೆ ಕಾಡಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗಿರುವಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವಷ್ಟು ಅಣಬೆಗಳು ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಯಾರು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಕಟ್ಟೆ ಭತ್ತ, ಅದು ಆ ಟೈಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಭತ್ತ ಬಿದ್ರಿಂದ ನೆಲಕ್ಕೆ ಉದುರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೋ, ಗಿಡ ರೌಂಡ್ ಗುಡಿಸಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ದೋ, ಭತ್ತಗಳು ಉದುರ್ತಿದ್ದೋ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಗುಡಿಸಿ ಗುಚ್ಚಿ ಕೇರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಚೀಲಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಿಸ್ಕೊಂಬಂದು ಮನೇಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಕುಟ್ಟಿ ಅದ್ರ ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ತೆಗೆದು ಅಕ್ಕಿ ಮಾಡಿ ತೊಳೆದು ಗಂಜಿ ಮಾಡಿ ತಿಂತಿದ್ದೆ.
ಭತ್ತ ಕುಟ್ಟಿತೇನೆ ಬೋಜಿ ತಾನೆ ನನ್ನ ಬೋಜಿ ತಾನೆ ನನ್ನ
ಭತ್ತ ಕುಟ್ಟಿತಾನೆ ಬೋಜಿ ತಾನೆ ನನ್ನ ಬೋಜಿ ತಾನೆ ನನ್ನ
ಭತ್ತ ಕುಟ್ಟಿತೇನೆ ಬೋಜಿ ತಾನೆ ನನ್ನ ಬೋಜಿ ತಾನೆ ನನ್ನ
ಭತ್ತ ಕುಟ್ಟಿತಾನೆ ಬೋಜಿ ತಾನೆ ನನ್ನ ಬೋಜಿ ತಾನೆ ನನ್ನ.
ಕುಂತೂರು ಗದ್ದಲು ನಂಗ ನಾಟಿನೆ ಹಾಕಿತಿನೋ, ಕುಂತೂರು ಗದ್ದಲು ನಂಗ ನಾಟಿನೆ ಹಾಕಿತಿನೋ, ಕಾಡು ಕರೆತು ಬಯಲು ಮಾಡಿ ರಾಗಿ.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ರಮೇಶ, ನಾಗರಹೊಳೆ ಸಿದ್ದಾಪುರದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು. ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮುದಾಯದ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರೋಂಥ ಏನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬೆಳ್ಕೊಬಂದು ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಾವು ಹಾಡು ಮಾಡಿರೋವಂಥದ್ದು, ಅಥವಾ ಏನೋ ತಿನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹಾಡು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಒಂದು ಹಾಡು ಮಾಡಿರೋವಂಥದ್ದು.
ನಿಜವಾದ ತಳಾದಿಯ ಹಾಡುಗಳಂದರೆ ಹೊಸಗೆಯ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡುವಂಥ ಸೋಬಾನ ಹಾಡುಗಳು, ಮತ್ತು ಜೇನುಕುಯ್ಯ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಜೇನು ಕುಯ್ಯುವಂಥ ಹಾಡುಗಳು, ಕೋಲಾಟ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ಕೋಲು ಪದಗಳ ಒಂದು ಹಾಡುಗಳು, ಹಾಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು ಹಾಡುಗಳು ಇದೆ. ಜೇನು ಪದನ ಒಂದು 2 ಗೆರೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಜೇನೆ ಹುಟ್ಟುವಾಗ ಹೇಳಾಳು ಅಣ್ಣ ತಮ್ಮ, ಜೇನೆ ಹುಟ್ಟುವಾಗ ಹೇಳಾಳು ಅಣ್ಣ ತಮ್ಮ, ಜೇನೆ ಹುಟ್ಟುವಾಗ ಹೇಳಾಳು ಅಣ್ಣ ತಮ್ಮ, ಜೇನೆ ಹುಟ್ಟುವಾಗ ಹೇಳಾಳು ಅಣ್ಣ ತಮ್ಮ. ಜೇನೆ ಬರೆಕಾರ ಬಂದಾನೀಗ, ಜೇನೆ ಬರೆಕಾರ ಬಂದಾನೀಗ, ಜೇನಿಯೋ
ಆಕಾಶದ ಹಾರಮನೆ, ಜೇನೆ ಆಕಾಶದ ಹಾರಮನೆ.
ಹಾಡನ್ನು ಜೇನು ಕುಯ್ಯುವಾಗ ಹೇಳುವಂಥ ಹಾಡುಗಳು. ಜೇನು ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ಒಂದೇ ಹಾಡಿ, ಬರುವಾಗ ಸಲಾಪಿಲಿ, ಜೇನೆ ನೀನು ರಾಗಿಯ ಹೂ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದು, ಜೇನೆ ಒನ್ನೆಯ ಹೂ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದು, ಜೇನೆ ಬೀಟಿಯ ಹೂ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದು, ನೀನು ಬರ್ತೀಯ, 7 ಬಟ್ಟಂದ ಆಚೆ ನೀನು ಹೋಯ್ತೀಯ, 7 ಬಟ್ಟಂದ ಆಚೆ ನೀನು ರಾಗ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರ್ತೀಯ, ಆ ರಾಗನೇ ಸಂದ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪದಗಳು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರಿ ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿದೆ. ಆದರೆ ನಾವು ಕಟ್ಟಿದ ಹಾಡು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ವಿದ್ಯಾಭ್ಯಾಸ ಇಲ್ಲದ ಕಟ್ಟಿದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಹಿರಿಕರ ಹಾಡು. ಅದು ಭಾರಿ ಚಂದ.
700 ಹೇಣಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿ.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು JS ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅಂತೇಳಿ, ನಾಣಚ್ಚಿ ಗದ್ದೆ ಹಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಸ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ದೇವ್ರ ಕರಿ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇವ್ರ ಕರಿದು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಬುರುಡೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ದೇವರನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಈ ಬುರುಡನ ಕುಯ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಗದ್ದೆ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ತೂತ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಊತಾಕ್ತೀವಿ. ಕೊಳೆದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದು ಮಗ್ಚಿದಾಗ ಅದರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರೋದು ಏನು ವೇಸ್ಟ್ಗಳಿದೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಬೆಂಕಿಯ ಸಾಕಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಗುರುಗುಂಜಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೀಜ. ಆ ನಿಯಮ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅವರು ಆ ಗುರುಗುಂಜಿ ಬೀಜನ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಅದ್ರ ಈ ನೆಸರೆ ಮೇಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದನ್ನು ರೌಂಡ್ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮುಚ್ಚಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಅದು ಶಬ್ದ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಶಬ್ದ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಇದನ್ನು ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿರಿಕ ಅಜ್ಜ ಆಗಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಇದೀಗಲೂ ಬುರುಡೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪದ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಅಣ್ಣ ತಂಗಿ ಬುರುಡೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೆಲವು ಇತಿಹಾಸಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಹೊರ ಮುಂದೆ ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಜಗತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಳಯ ಆಯ್ತದೆ. ಆದಿವಾಸಿಯಾದಂಥ ಒಬ್ಬ ಸಮುದಾಯದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಅಜ್ಜ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅಜ್ಜಮ್ಮ 2 ಜನ ಕೂಡ 2 ಜನಕ್ಕೆ 2 ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ.
ಆದರೆ ತಂದೆ ಮತ್ತು ತಾಯಿ ದೇವರನ್ನು ವರ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದು, ನನ್ನ 2 ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬದುಕಬೇಕು, ಉಳಿಬೇಕು, ಮುಂದೆ ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ದೇವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ವರಗಳನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ದೇವರು ಈ 6ರಿಂದ 7 ಅಡಿ ತನಕ ಉದ್ದವಾದ ಒಂದು ಬುರುಡೆಯ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಈ 2 ಮಗುಗಳನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸಿ ತೇಲ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ನೀರಲ್ಲಿ.
ಅದೇ ಅಣ್ಣ ತಂಗಿ ಬುರುಡೆ. ಆಗ ಅಣ್ಣ ತಂಗಿ ಅದ್ರ ಒಳಿ ಹಾಕಿದರು. ಹೊರ ಬಂದಾಗ ಹಣ್ಣು ಗಂಡು ಅಂತ ಹೊರಹೊಮ್ಮಿ ಬರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅವರಲ್ಲೇ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಆದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಮುದಾಯಗಳೇ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಜೇನು ಕುರುಬ, ಬೆಟ್ಟ ಕುರುಬ, ಎರವ, ಪಣಿಯ, ಪಂಜರವ, ಸೋಲಿಕೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದು ಹೊರಹೊಮ್ಮಿದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅಣ್ಣ ತಮ್ಮಂದಿರು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದೆ. ನೀನು ನನ್ನ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೀನು ಈ ಬುರುಡನ ಹಿಡಿದು ಆಡು ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಬುರುಡನ ಹಿಡಿದು ನೀನು ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಆಗ ಅದು ನಾನು ಹೊರಹೊಮ್ತೀನಿ, ನಿನಗೆ ಏನು ಶಕ್ತಿ ಬೇಕೋ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಹುಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದೇ ನಮ್ಮ ವಯನಾಡು ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ತಿರ್ನಾಡ ಒಂದು ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನದ ಹೊರಮೈ ಬರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಈಗ ಭಾಗ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಕೇರಳ ಈ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ನಮ್ಮ ಆದಿವಾಸಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಭಾಗ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದಿವಾಸಿಗಳು ಈಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಜಾಗನೇ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಈಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ.
ಕೋಲಾಟ ಬಿಸು ಹಬ್ಬ ಬಂದಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದೇ ಕೋಡಂಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸೂಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ.
ಗಂಡ ಹೆಂಡರ ಪಾತ್ರ ಅದು. ನೀನು ಒಂದು ದೇವತೆ, ನೀನು ಒಂದು ದೇವತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಆಗ ತಿರುನಲ್ಲಿ ಪೆರುಮಾಳ್ ಅಂತ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಕೇರಳದಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಮತ್ತು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಗೂರು ರಾಸಿ ದೊಡ್ಡವರು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಗೋಣಿಗೆದ್ದೆ ಹಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬುಡ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮನೆ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. 12 ಕೋಲನ್ನು ಹೊಡಿಬೇಕು. 12 ಹಾಡುಗಳು, 12 ಥರದ ಕೋಲುಗಳನ್ನು ಹೊಡೆದು, ಆವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಏನಾದರೂ ದೋಷಗಳಿದ್ದರೆ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗಿದೆ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ.
ಕಿನ್ನುಡಿ ಕಿರ್ಗಜ ಕಿಗಿನ ಲದ್ನ ಕಿನ್ನೂಡಿ ಮೇರೆ ತರೆ ಜಗಿತೋ ಲಂದನ ಹೊರು ಪಲ್ ಸೇ ಮುರ್ ಅಕ್ಕ ಬಾರುಕ ಬರ್ವೆನು ತಾಯಿ ಚಂಗಪ್ಪನ ತಂಗಿ ಬಾ ಕರೆದು ಬರ್ವೆನು ಕೊಗುಲ ಕೊಗುಲ ವನತರಿ ಕೊಗುಲ ದಾದಿಗಳೋ ನಮ್ಮ ದತ್ತಿಗಳೋ ಸೀರೆಗಳಪ್ಪನ ರಂಡಿಗಳು ಭಾವ ಜೈವಗಲೋ ಭವಾನ ಸವಾಲಿ ಜೈವಗಲೋ ಹಿಂಬಿ ಊಟಾಲಿ ಹಿಂಬಿ ಹೆಳಾಲಿ ಹಿಂಬಿನಂತ ತೇರು ಏರಾಲಿ ಭಾವ ಜೈವಗಲೋ ಭವಾನ ಸವಾಲಿ ಜೈವಗಲೋ
ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ಬರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಬೇಡಿಕೆಗಳೇನಿದೆ, ಆ ಬೇಡಿಕೆಗಳ ಆಧಾರದ ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ, ಒಂದು ರಾಜ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ, ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡು ನಮ್ಮದು ಈ ಥರ ಅನ್ಯಾಯ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಪ್ರತಿಭಟಿಸೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನವಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಹಾಡುಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಅವರ ಅರಿವು ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಒಗದು ನಗಪುರಗ ಒಗದು ವಾಗಬಾಡ ಬಾನೆ ನಂಗ ಹಾಡಿ ಬುಡಬಡ ನಂಗ ಕಾಡು ಬುಡಬಡ ಹಜ್ಜಮ್ಮನ ಹಾಡು ಕಣ್ಣೆ ಹಜ್ಜಯ್ಯನ ಕುಣಿತ ಕಣ್ಣೆ ಕೊಂಡಗಿ ಸುಳ್ಳೆ ಕಟ್ಟೋಡು ಕೋಲು ಕುಣಿತ ಕುಣಿದದನ್ನೇ ಈಗ ಮರೆತು ಹೋದೆನೆ ಈಗ ಮರೆತು ಹೋದೆನೆ. ನಾನು ಹೋರಾಟಗೆ ಹೋಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ರು ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅದನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿ ನನಗೆ ಭಾರಿ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯಿತು, ನಾನು ಹಂಗೆ ಆಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಮತ್ತು ನಾವು ಹಂಗೆ ಆ ಟೈಮ್ಗೆ ಟೀಮು ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದು ಕಲಾ ತಂಡ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಹಂಗೆ ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಾಡನ್ನ ಹಂಗೆ ಕಲಿಯೋಂಥದ್ದು ಬಂತು. ಹಂಗೆ
ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕತೆಗಳು, ನಮ್ಮ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಇದನ್ನೇ ನಾನು ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಇದನ್ನ ಬೆಳೆಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಆಸೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈಗಲೂ ಅದು ಒಂದು ನಾವು ಟೀಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದು 20 ವರ್ಷದ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕಳೆದಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
1992-93ನೇ ವನ್ಯಜೀವಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ ಏನು ಜಾರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿತ್ತು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಎಳಬಾರದ ಹಿಂಸೆ ಅದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಈಚೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೋಲಾಟಗಳು ಆಡುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೆ ಸೈಲೆಂಟಾಗಿ ಬಿತ್ತು. ಮತ್ತೆ 1984ರ ಈಚೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಸಂಘಟನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ ನಂತರ NGO ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಬಂದು ಸಂಘಟನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಂತರ ಕೋಲಾಟಗಳು, ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಪುನಃ ಅದನ್ನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ.
ನಿಂಬಿಯ ವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಬ್ಬಿತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕೊಲು ನಮ್ಮನೆ ಕೊಡಲ ಶಿವರುದ್ರ ಕೊಲೆ, ದೇವೇ ಸಪ್ಪನ ದೂರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇವರ ಮುಂದೆ ಗುಡಿ ಮುಂದೆ, ಬೆಟ್ಟಾಲೀರ ಗಿಣಗಲೆ ಕಾಯಿ ದೇವರ ಮುಂದೆ ಗುಡಿ ಮುಂದೆ,
ಈಚೆಗೆ ತುಂಬ ವೈರಲ್ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು ಏನು ನಮ್ಮ ಹಾಡಲೆ ಮರಲು ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಆ ಹಾಡು ತುಂಬ ವೈರಲ್ ಆಯಿತು.
ಈಗ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕೂಡ ಹಾಡನ್ನು ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾವೇನು ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟಿ 2 ದಿನ ತರಬೇತಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನಮಗಿಂತ ಮುಂಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಕಲ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಟ ಆಡ್ತಿರೋಲ್ಲ ಅದೇ ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಆಟ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ.
ನಂಗ ಕಾಡಲೆ ಬಲದಾದು ಜೇನು ಕುರ್ಬ ಮಕ್ಕ ನಂಗ ಇಲ್ವೇ ಕಾಡಲೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದಾದು, ನಂಗ ಕಾಡಲೆ ಬಲದಾದು ಬಿದುರು ಬೂಡಾಲು ನಂಗ ಒಕ್ಕಾಲು ಇದ್ದವರು, ನಂಗ ಕಟೆ ಭತ್ತ ತಿಂದವರು, ಬಿದುರು ಬೂಡಾಲು ನಂಗ ಒಕ್ಕಾಲು ಇದ್ದವರು, ನಂಗ ಕಟೆ ಭತ್ತ ತಿಂದವರು, ಜೇನು ಕುರುಬ ಮಕ್ಕ ನಂಗ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಕಾಡುಲೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದಾದು, ನಂಗ ಕಾಡುಲೆ ಬಲುದಾದು, ಲಾಲ 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 ಲಾಲ.
Here again you can see we wanted to show their culture, not just how it is or how it was, and it is also showing how it is, how it is evolving, and then how it is transmitting. So you must have noticed that now they are using their traditional songs for protest and political, it's taking a political sort of turn and all. So yeah, I think this is a basic idea about the work that we do. I think it's better you guys ask questions and then I can answer.
So how do you deal with communities that aren't welcoming?
So, or are there instances where people, you know, when they see a group of people come with cameras and mics and they have negative reactions? So, how do you deal with such situations?
So whenever we go, we do, first we try to connect with locals, the local community leaders, and then maybe social workers. And in Kerala, we have a very strong panchayat raj system, so local ward members and so on. So we don't just one day go with a camera and everything. So we do our thorough groundwork first. Then only we go. Still, there are instances, for instance, one time, some of the members of the community said, like, we should go to this place. There's a beautiful place to shoot and all. So we went and shot there. Then somebody came very aggressively and then start saying, like, you should not do this here. Then later we understood this actually the Uru Mupan of that particular place. We hadn't actually taken permission from there. So we completely stopped the shoot and everything, and then we left. Because if you are going and working in a community, you have to respect them. It's not like you are there as some, gods and sort of people who are there to save them or, do something. It's their place, so you have to respect. If they say, like, we don't want to be shot, you should not shoot there. Or if they say, like, we are not okay with anything, we should not do that. So that's the kind of approach that we take. So to take, first of all, before starting anything like this, a lot of groundwork, talking to them, understanding whether at all they need something like that. It's not like we should go there and tell them, like, okay, you should document. First, they should feel the need. The way we work with this, actually, we try to be as collaborative as possible. We don't just go there and, like, say, like, just appear on one day and say, like, we are here to help you or anything like that. So that sort of thorough groundwork you have to do initially.
Here. Sruthin, thank you for taking the time to take the lecture today, and thanks for all the work that you've been doing with your nonprofit. Coming from a communications background, my sole question is how hard it is for you to get translation right, because you're dealing with a lot of cultural treasures and you're dealing with communities that have developed very independently, though working together. There are dialects that are so different, there are cultural rites that are so different, and everything has a lot of meaning. How hard it is for you to get these translations and getting these cultural quips correct?
So it's very difficult. For instance, this particular project, especially this Jainakurvaj language, was very challenging for us. So what we did was we hired a consultant from their own community. But many things we figured out much later also. For instance, sometimes they sang certain songs, we thought like it's original traditional songs. We recorded everything. Then after, while we sent it to edit table, and after a few months only, they said, like, oh, no, this is a song that I wrote. Initially we asked them, but that communication was very difficult. It took a long time for us to actually completely develop that understanding and get a full picture. And then in our case, we spoke Malayalam. There were some community members who knew Malayalam. So initially what we could do was, hire them as consultant, like I said. Later, for this documentary, for instance, we hired somebody who knew Kannada also. So that made this slightly easier for us. But it's always a challenge. So you have to find the right person, especially you have to work with the right persons in the community itself. So in our thing, hire as many consultants from community itself who are there. They only can properly help you. So that's what our focus is right now. Especially right now we work in Calicut with So we have found out 4 or 5 such people who are there to help us. And then even from this time, our researchers, we have a researcher in-house. So when he went there and asked, so they said like, we have data collected with us. Why can't we do it collaboratively? So we said, yeah, that's the best thing for us. So we said like, yeah, let's do a research report together. So our plan is to publish something together. So that way, these problems we are slowly tackling, but still we are learning. It's too cold here, actually.
So, as your title said, connecting culture with future. So, by the term future, I have two questions. First, do you refer to future just in the context of conservation and preservation of these communities, or is it something more like we can take their methods or their practices and that could benefit the whole human society as whole, like taking the whole society to the future, not that will not just benefit these communities but the whole society as well? So is it something of that sort?
Maybe both. So for us, first thing is the community that we work with. So whatever way we can help them to take it to the present and future, we try to do that. And then in our conservation project and all, you saw that we promoted many sort of materials which were many sort of techniques and materials that were kind of not being used much. We promoted, so that is in the second category. Maybe other people can actually use it. So one thing that is happening there right now is that more and more temple people are actually thinking of doing the same thing because they think like there are some awards in that segment. Maybe we also get some UNESCO award. So, so it's a good thing for us because many temples are in that area are now thinking like, oh, let's not use cement, or maybe let's go for laterite at least, or like maybe let's use wood. So that way these traditional artisans are getting new opportunities, and then instead of writing reports or preaching about the benefits of using timber or cement and all, maybe such things actually such visible things or things that make sense for them maybe could be getting an award, or maybe getting funding from somebody sitting in Delhi, like we made happen. So those things are actually helping in those areas. So that actually falls in the second category. And for instance, in tourism segment, a lot of people are coming to us. So many guests that we get are people who want to understand like the authentic culture and all. So for them, when we showcase these things, for them it's like, there are many learnings for them to take home when they experience these sort of things. So that also may be falling in the second category, like how large, people who are outside the community, how they are actually benefiting from these sort of exposures and experience and everything. So I think both are important. From our, but if you ask me, our primary concern is helping the community and like how to help them carry forward their cultural traditions. Because if there is social, if there is economic sense, and if there is cultural sense, if there is social sense, then they should actually take it forward. And if they have an interest, we try to help them in that aspect. That's what we do.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. Right, left side, sir. I wanted to ask, how were you able to connect with people like the chairman of Kama Ayurveda through like social media platforms, and like what is your general approach when it comes to like spreading awareness of your work?
So many ways. It's all about brand building, including your brand and your brand's brand. So this, for instance, Vivek connected to me because when I started, I make sure that I build my personal brand in a way that very much aligns with the work that I do. Social media is a great tool, especially Instagram and all. So it helps me a lot in fundraising, to be honest. So you have to put out that you are doing some such work, and then daily through stories and all, you can show like the kind of work that you do, the communities that you interact with, the kind of impact, and then how much you yourself embody what you actually try to do and what you preach. So there are so many people out there who want to help and who have the resources. The problem is they don't find the right people to support. So when we interact with funding agencies and all, one of the things that they say is like, we don't find the right people to support, because who actually have the professional capacity, who have the efficiency, who also have the right values. So, you build those things, and also like keep on communicating to the rest of the world through all these channels that, you have this thing and you are doing this thing. People will notice you and people will help you. So, for instance, Vivek, started following me because he saw some of the reels I put out, singing a Kathakali song, because I come from a music background also. But after that, he started. He get to know that okay, I also run such an organization and we do some inspiring work. So he supported us for some others. He gave us some small funding for some other projects, and then he saw impact. And then this came up, he was like more than happy. So yeah, branding yourself and your organization, making use of social media is very important. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, a lot of these communities, they are facing a lot of, their traditions are facing a lot of pressure due to different government policies. And in the example of the Jainu Kuruba community, where they spoke about how their songs, through their songs, they would try and protest these changes that the government is making. So how do other different communities deal with these kind of policy changes?
Again, that's not in our area, but I think like different communities interact different ways. Art is a form of, for these communities, that's usually these traditional art forms are something that it's a wonderful way of communicating with themselves, even to create awareness among themselves. They use their own art forms, and even to communicate to the rest of the world also. So that way it's important. So here in that documentary, we looked into that aspect. And generally, it's not our area, so I'm not an expert to comment exactly on that question. So probably if I wore my journalist hat, I would have been in a better position to answer that. But if there are instances, we try to document those wherever we come across, just like in that documentary. Yeah, that's it. Also, we offer internships and, yeah, it's a little bit of advertisement for us also. Yeah, you can check our website, arpo.in. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I extend a heartfelt gratitude and appreciation for your time. Can we please have a huge round of applause?